Welcome.
Episode 53. Now I'm keeping track.
Of the monster month.
Yeah, for October. This is our third monster romance.
Mm-hmm.
Although, actually, let's just address this right now. Both of us had not read this book and only kind of heard about it via Instagram. You know those videos where they give you like a handful of quotes and you're like, ooh, that sounds fun. So that's how I found this book.
So I want you to know that I got suckered into this book because I read on the Instagram what the dedication was, and I was like, great, that sounds like a great book for this month.
What's the dedication?
The dedication is for all the I think it's like for all the girlies who believe the Grim Reaper would fuck like a god.
Okay. Because you were like, yeah, so you put this on the list, and this is not a monster romance. I mean, okay.
Like, you could argue that
argue.
it is and isn't, because it's more like a paranormal.
He is an immortal creature who is basically a soul in a physical body. And
I was just hoping they weren't going to show his face the entire time.
But he's like a humanoid.
He would just be faceless.
He's basically just like a human with white eyes.
Yeah.
Just fully white eyes. There's no people. It's just
when they revealed
white.
that, I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. I thought his head was going to be like demon-like, but it's not. It's just human. So this is arguably
Not
a monster romance, because when we originally were picking books for this month.
Well, I thought it was gonna be like, did you read the like what's that that like one with the office, and he gives the heart to her at the end?
Oh, Love, Laugh, Lynch?
Yes, I thought it was gonna be like that. I thought it was like
where he's like a legit Lynch.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So no, he's
I
like
thought
basically
it was legit gonna be like a Grim Reaper.
Yeah. No. Although that is also a Grim. That is a Grim Reaper in that book. Yeah, that's what he's. So. Yeah, because when we were trying to pick books for this month, we were looking for authors that are very popular in the monster romance space. We were trying to like kind of hit some like key beats, and then we looked specifically for actual monsters.
Yeah,
like not.
This isn't my bad.
This is your bad.
This isn't my bad. I should have read the book before I recommended it.
I mean, we do that though. Sometimes we pick a book that neither of us have read because we heard about it, or like, and this one just like
the
didn't
thing
actually hit the
is
theme.
like her other book, which is the berries and something, which is about like the gargoyle looking creatures. And I wanted to read that one, but then you're like, no, this is.
She only has 2 books.
Oh, is this not the
no
same author?
No.
Or is that the girl who did the tentacle and triathlons?
No, that's Lily Mayne, who we are doing a Lily Mayne book, but Berries and Greed.
Yes,
that's Lily Mayne, and the reason we didn't pick that one is because I was like, I want to read this Lily Mayne book because I loved it so much. So we are doing a Lily Mayne book. Next episode is I think going to be our Lily Mayne book, but part of our criteria was that like it couldn't be an alien because
alien's its own category.
Because alien's its own category, and like some of them are like, oh, it's a monster, but like from another planet, so it's like technically an alien.
No, that's alien. Yeah.
So we were like, well, we can't do that. So then it had to be like specifically monster. So we had like very specific criteria that we were like trying to hit, and this one. I mean, like, he is technically a monster, but he's just, like, basically human. Like, he's humanoid completely.
Yeah.
Which kind of defeats the purpose of monster.
Because
we got Kraken, we got Mothman, we got a
Fae.
Fae.
Yeah, we got a Frankenstein monster.
Yeah. And then we have another, like, demon-type guy and the Lily Mayne book. And then I think a werewolf in the last one that we picked. So, I mean, There was a lot of books this month, so maybe we get like a free pass. I don't know.
This wasn't my bad, guys. Like, it's not a bad book, except for when you're
It
going
just doesn't
into it.
fit.
When you're expecting a monster romance and
It's
it
not.
doesn't hit a monster romance.
It is technically a monster romance, but it is not an actual monster. It's just a, I don't know, demon.
Yeah,
I guess you consider him. Okay, so let's start with tropes, because I actually couldn't find, like, I couldn't think of that many. So I have stalker romance,
Mm-hmm.
dark romance.
Mm-hmm. Fated mates.
I don't know. Was it fated mates?
Well, he seemed like it was fated mates.
I mean, like, yeah, okay. I like could see that. I mean, paranormal romance would be another one, I guess. What else?
Also, she totally cheats on her boyfriend with him.
I mean, like, technically, yes. So I guess would be cheating. I mean, like, yeah, cheating on a technicality. I don't know, because he's an asshole, but like,
still cheating.
Yeah.
I mean, he was also cheating on her. So
yes, yeah, true. Never like officially confirmed, but like basically, yeah. Like there isn't really, this book isn't that tropey. Yeah, paranormal, stalker, dark romance. That's kind of like the big ones. Okay, trigger warning though. I would say look up the trigger warnings in this book, because like she has gone through a lot of trauma.
She's basically depressed this entire book. Like, this is like, she's like in a deep depression.
Yeah, from like it's never outright stated, but like, yeah, she basically is. And she's like going through a lot of like grief and like survivor's guilt.
Mm-hmm.
So it, like, I would definitely look up the trigger warnings on this before you read it, because we definitely will miss them. But like, yeah, it's like death, trauma, death of a parent, death of a sibling, overdose, substance abuse.
Yep.
Yeah, like kind of like PTSD. She has like episodes where she like, yeah, and then she's like very heavily medicated from her psychologist, and like relies on the meds, but like thinks she's crazy. I would definitely just look up the trigger warnings on this before you read it, because yeah, I would say that has quite a few, and they're like very specific ones.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a Goodreads of 3.59, and this has 2,000 ratings. That's a lot. Like, how does this have more than Doves and Demons?
I don't know. Maybe
Instagram?
probably they read that dedication. They're like, yes, exactly.
Because like, yeah, I expected Doves and Demons to have more reviews than this for sure, because Cleo Evans is just like more popular.
Is she more popular?
I would say so. Like this is, oh my god, we didn't even say the book's name. We're just all over the place. This, like,
I think we could all use a nap.
So we read Death's Obsession by Avina. I think it's pronounced Avina St Graves. She's only got 2 books out, but this has this is a 3.59, sorry, and this has 18,000 ratings. That's what Goodreads says. I wrote that down wrong.
18?
Yeah.
How long has this been out for?
June 2023. So maybe Instagram?
Maybe Instagram book talk.
Maybe it made rounds. How you found it?
I guess so.
Weird. Because, yeah, I would not have guessed that this had more than Doves and Demons. But, yeah. I guess that's a thing. Okay. We're now going to read the back of the book, which we realized right before we started recording this episode that we didn't do for Doves and Demons. So, sorry.
My bad.
You will have to read the back of Doves and Demons by yourself.
We're having a
We're
day.
just like, yeah, I got married like a week ago, and we're just like, we both don't know what's happening.
I don't know what time it is.
I don't even know. We like, yeah, it was like holiday weekend, and now it's Thanksgiving in Canada, at least, and it's just the days all blend together. Okay. Death's obsession. He's coming for you. Death is meant to come on a chariot of broken dreams or in the dark trenches of a storm, not in love letters and gifts. He did not take my soul when I was meant to die. He did not want it all the other times that I've offered it to him on a silver platter. Yet time and time again, he reminds me that I am his night monster, his dark love, his perfect other. Death was the only thing keeping me alive. He watches me from his corner, taunts me with sweet messages, marks my body with his touch as I sleep. He took the people that I love away from me. Still, no one believes me when I said that I saw the faceless man on the night of the accident. No one can escape death. Me, I'm chasing it. That's really short.
Very short.
I feel like we've had a lot of really long back of the books recently, and that was a very, very short one.
Yeah, but I mean, it doesn't really tell you much.
No, accurate-ish. They're all kind of accurate-ish. They really just give you vibes.
It's like when you read when you read a horoscope where it's like vague enough that it kind of hits
that
everything.
You're like, oh yeah, this happened. This could happen to me. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so main characters are Lilith
and I don't know how to pronounce his name. Latem. I don't know. It's Latin for death.
Yes. Here, let's see if I can look up how to pronounce it. I think I spelled it right.
Is it Ledum? Ledum?
No, it's a T.
Okay, this is taking too long, Ayesha.
Okay. I think that's what his name is. I don't have my Kindle on me. My Kindle's put away already, but and he's like old.
Yeah, he's like older than time, basically.
And she's 30 or like close to 30.
Close to 30.
Like I want to say 27 to 32 type window.
Yeah.
And her sister, she's a twin, and her sister and her basically her trauma is that her sister's boyfriend was a deadbeat, who also she talks about how her sister's boyfriend was a deadbeat and he drives drunk all the time. He used to drive drunk all the time. And
but then there was like a moment where they were like, yeah, Evan, who is her boyfriend,
was also
like
fucked
really
up
like,
because he was like
best friends with him, and I was like, that felt like just like a throwaway in line. Like
it also was like, you were like, well, yeah, I could see how that could happen, but then she talks about how Evan used to be, and I'm like, that doesn't sound like the guy who's friends with the guy who drives drunk. But basically, she's usually like the DD, and this one time she like doesn't DD, and she lets her sister's boyfriend, who said he only had one drink, drive them home, and he didn't just have one drink. So he like basically wrecks their car, and they all die.
Yeah.
Basically. And then
she literally gets thrown from the vehicle
through the front window.
Yeah.
And then the two of them are in seatbelts, and the car lights like blows up with them in it.
Yeah.
So like the only reason she quote unquote lives is because she was flung from the car.
Even though she was meant to die. Like,
yeah.
She was fully meant to die, and he was like, nah, you're today. Not today.
You're too traumatized to take your soul and keep it. You gotta be less traumatized. And
I don't understand what the purpose of her waiting so long, like him making her wait so long to take her soul.
So okay, I'm trying to think of where we should start with this book, because like nothing happens, but then a lot happens at the same time. Because it's basically like you originally get this and you think it's a stalker.
Mm-hmm.
It's very stalker-esque, where he's basically like showing up at the night, breaking into her house, leaving her notes, leaving her like gifts, like showing up and like touching her in her sleep, and she doesn't remember any of this. Whoa. And everyone is telling her she's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And my watch always says this. And she also thinks she's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, she thinks that she's seeing it and she's believing everyone who's telling her she's crazy. And her boyfriend is kind of a dick from the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, the whole time.
The whole time. He doesn't want to live with her, probably because so they were together for like 4 years.
And my understanding is that they were living together, and then after the accident, he was like, "Yeah, we can't live together."
Which is basically because he's been cheating on her.
Yeah.
But then he's been like, basically keeping her around to like subsidize
His income.
Yeah.
He'd be like, "Hey, I'm out of like drugs. Can you send me some money?" And she'll be like, "Okay, sorry, here." And I'm like, "What?"
Sorry, I went to my therapist this week.
Yeah, and he's like,
we can't afford that.
Yeah, but they don't live together. I was very confused by that. He seemed like such a dick.
And he lived with 4 roommates.
Yeah, like I think there was 3 of them in the house. There was 2 other roommates and him. It was very strange. And he lived on like the university campus.
University campus, which they're not.
And they're not students. They just like needed cheap housing, basically.
That'd be so creepy.
Yeah, but that would be weird. Because like, yeah, she's basically getting stalked, and then there's this weird shift from stalker romance to sweet romance when you realize that he understands that she's traumatized and needs her to like start to overcome her trauma before they can be together, and you're like, oh, and you like kind of don't know how to feel.
But I think it's just like
it's very hard to describe.
It's like he wants her to want to live because she's like always.
She doesn't want, yeah.
She's always been kind of like mega depressed. So when she got thrown from the car, she was like, I'm like literally ready for death. And he is like, not today. And then she was like, well, I was ready for death and death didn't even want me. So like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with my life?
Yes, basically. That's like basically it. And like, I also didn't understand because he's stalking her. He leaves her gifts, but he doesn't quite show himself because she's like, who the fuck is this guy? And then when she finally figures out who he is, she's like, okay, it's death, and I want death, and I love him. And then she suddenly has all these memories of them together.
Yeah.
That was confusing to me. I don't think I quite understood that.
It was like the trauma and the drugs were like making her not forget their interactions because they only interacted in her when she's asleep and when she was in the coma and then when she sleeps, which is why she kept waking up with like
marks on her
body because they would interact and they would talk and then he would
they're starting to fall in love, but
yeah,
in her
and
dreams.
then she would like wake up and she wouldn't remember any of it.
Okay, because I didn't quite understand. I was like, did he hide that from her? Was there like a reason that so you think it was the drugs?
I think it was the drugs and the mixture of like
also her thinking she's crazy,
which is like why all the signs of saying, oh, I'm interacting with this like
didn't
Grim
quite
Reaper
click.
is like not. She thought it wasn't real.
Yeah. Okay, because that was one thing that I was like, what? But basically for months they'd been like meeting.
It's been like years since the accident. It's been like 2 years.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's okay. That's what I thought. So they were like basically in a relationship in her dreams.
Yeah.
And she wasn't remember any of it, but then she'd fall back asleep, remember, and then continue on and then wake up and not remember anymore.
Yeah, except for the times that we saw.
The recent ones, yeah. When she basically started to like think about coming off her meds.
Mm-hmm.
And then she stopped taking the meds. That was the other thing. Were the meds fake the whole time?
Well, because they talk about like the symbol of Lilith, and I was like, what does that have to do with it?
Or did she imagine that? Was he changing out her meds to make her forget until she was ready?
I have no idea.
Because like I was like, wait, what? Because then all of a sudden the meds disappeared.
No, she threw him in the car, and then she was like, I'm not getting a refill. I can't afford to get a refill.
And then she was like, and then he cleaned them up. She left them, and then they disappeared. And she's like, I can't afford a refill, and I'm pretty sure he took the ones from the car that I dropped everywhere. And then she just like continued on without meds, and it was like going through withdrawal for a while. Yeah. Girl went through a lot.
She found her boyfriend dead.
Okay, actually, because we're here, let's talk. That's my least favorite part. I was not quite sure.
I wish they just broke up.
Why that needed to happen? Like, why did she have to find his dead body?
Yeah.
And then she like blames herself for a while, and then like Latem doesn't quite like. He never explains that like yes, he killed him, or he took his soul but didn't kill him. So did he OD? And then Latem was like, all right, fuck it, it's your time. Or like, there wasn't quite like,
yeah, because
did he actually like quote unquote kill him?
It was like he gave off this like touch her and you die, but then when she asked him point blank, they're like, did you kill him?
He's like,
no, I
just took his soul.
And it's like, well, then just fucking say that. Just be like, I didn't kill him. So then
basically he OD'd himself, died, and then Latem just decided to not send him back, and to be like, well, all right, time to go. I was very confused. I was like, what? And then she feels guilty, and then they make her go to the funeral, and she's like,
I'm not grieving at all these other people because like Evan treated me like shit.
And he wasn't the same person as he used to be for like 2 years.
And then she's also like, but I feel guilty because it's my fault he's dead. And I was like, no, it's not your fault he's dead.
Because he OD'd, but then it's never like clear. That was confusing to me. And then the girl shows up.
Oh yeah, his like mistress shows up.
And is like grieving with the family. But then she's been with Evan for 4 years, and she's like not. It was a very weird situation.
Yeah.
I feel like I had a lot of questions.
I feel like if this book was longer and they explained more, it might have helped. But also this entire book, like, they don't even technically get together because he like disappears in this book.
Because he basically is like, she comes to this conclusion after Evan dies that she's like, I can't keep living like this. Like, I have to deal with my trauma. Although she'd been going to therapy for 2 years and not dealing with her trauma. That seemed really strange too. So then she basically is like, okay, so I'm going to like come to terms and like visit the cemetery and say goodbye to her parents and to her sister.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, good job.
Yeah. And then they fuck in the shower.
And then he disappears again.
Yeah.
And he leaves her for like months.
Yeah.
Like not just weeks, like months.
My least favorite part is, so she starts to live, like she starts like actively like hanging out, like trying to engage with people and like make friends.
Yeah.
And then she just fucking dies.
Okay, actually, this was a question I had because I even had this in my notes where I was like, so she dies?
She dies. She just like, she lies down.
And he just takes her soul.
And he takes her soul. And then her body's there. And then they're like they're going to be a little Reaper duo or something. And she's going to collect souls with him.
That's what I was confused about. Because I was like,
but I don't.
So is she dead? Or, like, so she basically just doesn't have a physical body anymore. She's just a soul.
So her body is just lying on that road, and then a car crashes, and I'm like, so when someone discovers this car crash, are they just going to find her body just lying there?
Yeah, that was a question that I had, too, where I was like, so she just...
Also, does he live in the forest?
I think he lives in another dimension. That was what I understood. Was he was like pulling her to another dimension via the symbol.
Yeah.
And that's why they always had to stay kind of within the symbol. Because that was a question I was like, is she dead? And he just like basically finally removed her soul from her body. And then he just keeps it instead of letting her pass over.
I guess. I don't understand the like the magic of that.
I mean, this is a very short book.
It's like just under 200 pages.
Yeah. Although, like, Tentacles and Triathlons was like 220, and they, like, Ashley Bennett was still able to, like, explain a lot. Like, they talked about, like, oh, what happens when I die if we're fated, or, like, and that just, like, some stuff is just never explained here.
Yeah, a lot of this entire book was just her being depressed. And it was really depressing to read about her being depressed.
Yeah.
Also, this is a nitpick. It's not bad. But so he doesn't physically have sex with her until the shower scene.
Correct.
But then he has his shadow soul fuck her, but then it's almost like
does it actually put his?
It was like his soul.
Was it his soul's penis though?
I guess
I don't remember.
something was penetrating her.
There's a scene where it's double penetration, and it's
yeah,
like
it's literally
his
it's
physical
two
body
scenes.
penis, and then his soul penis.
Yeah, it's like there's multiple scenes of the soul body,
Yeah.
and it's just like it felt like she wanted to have like an MFM romance
Type without having it.
but it's just like, why didn't you just, if you wanted to have so many scenes like that in the book, like why didn't we just do like two guys? But then that
I guess it doesn't make. I mean, I thought it was kind of cool. I
It
did
was
like
cool,
those scenes,
but I didn't need two of them. I need one just to get the point across.
yeah, I did like those scenes. The shower scene was good.
Yeah.
Because I also was like, at what point is she gonna see his face? And then she just like
Remembers his face.
Yeah, you're right. I think it is the meds. I think it was that she was like coming off the meds. She was like basically they're out of her system, and then she slowly starts to remember what his face looks like, and she's like, "Why am I can picture him clearly, but I know that I've never seen his face." And then she like it all comes back to her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is very interesting.
I mean, this book wasn't bad. It definitely just at the moment not really what I wanted.
I didn't think it was bad until now we're like talking about it, and I'm like, not that it is bad, but I'm like, you're right. I am very confused.
I'm really confused
because like my favorite part was just the fact that he was like, you have a lot of stuff going on, and you need to figure your shit out before it can
I
be
just
together.
don't understand the magic of like why he had to wait so long to take her. Why couldn't he have just let the other souls go and then be like, mine?
I don't think that it was like, I don't think that he was waiting for her to, like, there was a magic that he had to wait for. Like, I think that he was waiting for her to basically like deal with her trauma, and
but he like literally wouldn't have the trauma if he just took her soul when she died, because most of her trauma was about her sister dying.
And her parents.
But
that was like a separate thing. But
that was literally only touched upon like in 2 sentences.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was like, I don't know. He basically was like, I need to let her heal her soul. Like, her soul was broken. He was like, her soul needs to heal before I
But
take
then
it.
literally when she starts just having like a will to live, she just dies.
Because, but the thing is that he was like, I don't want her to want death. I want her to want me. Like, death as the concept. Like, yes, he is death, but he didn't want her to want the concept of death, of not existing. He wanted her to want him living, but with him, not in a living world. So it was, I do understand what you're saying, but that is, I think he wanted her to heal so that she wasn't as traumatized, because maybe her trauma was blocking out all those memories.
And what are they gonna do? They're gonna like be a little death duo?
I guess so. That wasn't really explained. Although, did you sign up for the bonus chapter and get it?
Yeah.
Me too.
And it was like when he first saw her.
Yes, mangled.
Yeah. And he was like, that's mine. I'll take that one.
And then there's like an after where they're just like living on this island.
Yeah, in his little house.
in his little forest house that has no walls but is a forest.
But it's like a library as well.
And her beach, which is like a beach and like there's a storm in the distance like coming towards them. Yeah.
I'm confused. I think
The
the more I
beach
talk
was-
about this book, when I finished this book, I was like, all right,
Okay.
okay. And now that
Yeah.
I'm talking about it, I'm like, I don't understand anything that happened.
I realized that we didn't really get a description of her either because he never really describes her besides
Yeah.
saying that she's got like brown hair and like her body was mangled after like the accident.
I think she was like, he described her a little bit because she was like really skinny. And then when he started feeding her,
yeah.
she was starting to get a little bit of weight. But
because she like wasn't eating, A, because she couldn't afford it, and B, because she was depressed.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then she would just have like her meds for dinner.
I did like how he was like, he'd secretly just fix stuff. Like, she had a squeaky chair, he just like fixed it. The floorboard was squeaky, he just fixed it.
Or he would like,
how he did that, I don't know, but it was cute that he did.
and then he would like give her gifts of things she needed.
Just a wad of cash in her purse, and
Yeah.
she's like, oh.
Okay, we're gonna buy stuff with this. But he gave her like a rain jacket, like a new jacket.
Yeah, or the ring, he just slips on her finger, and it's like,
yeah.
even in death or something like that.
And then like she has this like tattered purse
Yeah.
that's literally like could fall apart at any
And
second.
he buys her a new purse.
And then she doesn't want to use it, so she just throws it in the closet.
because she's like, my stalker gave me
Yeah,
this.
and then also this is like a cinema sin nitpickies. But he puts a necklace on her, which is supposed to be his symbol.
It's like a claiming of her, basically.
Yeah, but then he's like, "Oh, I like how she's still wearing my necklace." But then in a little comment, he's like, "I made that necklace a permanent thing, so she cannot take
There's
it
no
off.
clasp.
There's no clasp." So I'm like, "Of course she's wearing her fucking necklace. She can't take it off."
Although she hadn't figured it out yet. He's like, I don't think she's figured it out, but she can't take it off anyway. And she never does figure it out.
No.
The sex scenes in this book were good, though. Like,
Yeah.
I would say the sex scenes were really good. I liked the shadow stuff.
I just wish there's only one of those scenes.
Although it wasn't like the shadow, it was like his soul. Like, his soul could exit his body and also have sex with her at the same time.
Yeah.
It was a very interesting concept. Like, I wish there was more book, because I feel like if the book was longer, like if this was a 300-page book, like an extra 100 pages would have explained a lot, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't hate this book. I liked it.
I'm just a little confused now I talk about it.
I am still very confused. Because, like, what was your favorite part? Because mine was just that he was like, you're traumatized and you need to like heal, and he like basically just let her do it on her own. Like, he was like, you need to like heal yourself and love you and like come to terms with you before we can be together. And I was like, okay, like that's very like forward emotional like capacity thinking. Like, he clearly is emotionally capable and like doesn't also need therapy.
Yeah. I don't know. I really like the lasagna scene because she like, it was like literally after a date. She's like dizzy because she has not eaten anything.
And she just had meds.
She literally hadn't eaten anything in like 2 days at this point. She had like, I think she said she had like $20 to her name.
Yeah. And then her
boyfriend asked for, because he's out of green.
Yeah, he was out of weed. What? How did he OD? That was never like explained.
It's never explained.
Also, the roommates were like pitying her because they all knew he was cheating on her and no one said anything. And I was like,
and then she caught him, like literally, like the mistress was there, and like,
I mean, to be fair, she clearly wanted to keep her head in the sand.
Yeah.
In this instance. But yeah, it was a very like, she was clearly non-confrontational. Like, she did not want to have the confirmation. And then when she did go to break up with him, he was dead. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, and the roommate was just like, yeah, you just took a nap. And I was like, oh, he's going to be dead.
You thought that? I didn't think
Yeah,
that. I
I
thought
instantly, he was gonna be in bed with the
I
mistress.
thought he was gonna be in bed with the other girl.
But I was like, it's not, like they're not gonna be together anymore after the scene.
No, he's dead.
But yeah, I think my favorite part was the lasagna because it was like it was her favorite meal, and then like a glass of wine, and she was like, "This is great. I'm just gonna drink this whole bottle."
Yeah, yeah, she did. She was like, you know what?
She's like, "I didn't pay for this. I didn't pay for this. I know it's a good bottle of wine. I'm just gonna drink it all."
Yeah. I do wish the stalker thing didn't go on quite as long.
Well, the thing is, it's like, at first you're just like, oh, she hates the stalker. But then she's like, oh, but I love the gifts he gives me. But then she doesn't use the gifts he gives me.
She feels guilty. Yeah. This would have been... It does. I kind of wished it either stayed more stalkery and more dark, or it's had less stalkery stuff. Because it was a weird flip from like all of a sudden he was a stalker and then he was like just this really sweet guy who wanted her to heal from her trauma. And I was like, what is happening? Also, he's death.
Also,
The
he's
Grim
dead.
Reaper.
And he looks like a model, but he has no like pupils or irises.
He's just
It's just white eyes.
Yeah.
I was just like, I just hope that like, because they're like, she kept going on and on. I was like, oh, what does he look like? What does he look like? I'm like, what if he doesn't have a face? What if he's just
he was going to be
black?
I thought that was going to happen, that he just wasn't going to have a face, or it was going to be like a weird face. But no, he's
or like just a skull. But no, he's just a human.
He's just a human. He's a human looking guy with just white eyes.
Which I was so disappointed in.
Yeah, she also describes him as like really beautiful.
Yeah. And I was like, well, that's a bummer.
That's not monster like. And that's the one you knew that you made a mistake.
Yeah. Fuck.
You're like, this is not a monster book. But we had already both read it and committed. So
yeah, because you finished it before I did. And I was like, when I got to that point, I was like, fuck.
And then I was like, yeah, so that was a monster. You were like, no, it wasn't.
I fucked up.
Okay. What's your rating?
I give this like a 3. Probably drop it to 2.5 now.
I give this a 3.
I'm very
I was
confused.
thinking like 3.5, but I think I'd go 3. For what it is, it's good. I actually do wish it was
Just
longer.
don't
though.
question it, because when you start questioning it, you get very
This is like a
confused.
palate cleanser book where you just get like something kind of like in the middle.
Like you're in your spooky Halloween
Yes.
books, and you're just like, I just need a little tiny book to like just in between when all the duets start releasing.
This would have been perfect in between something like Nocticadia and like another book.
Yeah.
Like you've read something that's like dark academia, it's like spooky, but it was like long and like you were really invested and you had to pay attention. And then you read something like this and then you move on to like another really long book.
Mm-hmm.
Like this would be the in-between book where it's like still very like on par for like October, but like a palate cleanser, and you just like take it for what it is. Like you don't look any deeper than that. You just take it for what it is.
Yeah. Don't question this book, because like me, you'll end up more confused.
Yeah, we ended up more confused. Yeah, I would say 3. Would you reread this?
Probably not.
Same. Yeah, I don't think I would. Would you recommend?
Probably not.
I don't know.
I don't know who I'd what I would recommend this for, because like,
Unless someone specifically is looking for Grim Reaper.
yeah, but also like I feel like I can find a better Grim Reaper book. You know what I mean? Like, because this is more paranormal than it is monster.
Yeah,
It's basically like when she fell in love with a ghost, basically. He just
Yes.
happened. Also, how does he have the time to do all this shit? Doesn't he have like souls to collect?
to reap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I was.
we're
Yeah,
not
that
gonna,
is true.
we're not gonna picky nick this book anymore.
Yeah, I feel like I would recommend this, but yeah, I don't know. Like, this would be, if someone asked me for an October reading list, this would be on it. Like, I'd put this on like an October reading list, like a spooky season list. But that's kind of the only list I think I'd put this on, unless you're looking for something Grim Reaper specific.
But also, I feel like there are other Grim Reaper books out there.
And then, okay, so what would you say the steam was?
Like a 2.
Like a 2?
Like
I
a
feel
2.
like it's steamier than I think, but it's also so short. I have a 2.5 written down, but maybe it is a 2. Okay. Okay. Any last words?
I don't think so.
The one thing about monster romances is you don't have to be on condom watch.
But can they have babies?
I mean, it definitely
Well,
depends.
she's
on
dead now, so she can't. She doesn't have a physical body. So can a
Yeah.
soul have a baby?
I don't think so. Would you just birth another soul? I don't think that's how that
You're
works.
thinking too hard.
Or they reap a child and they keep it, but then it doesn't get older. I don't know.
But
That's a weird
We're
one.
not gonna question this.
They did kind of explain it in Doves and Demons. There was like a possibility of her potentially being able to have children with them.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tentacles and Triathlons, no, that wasn't a thing.
But he also could not carry a child, so
Yeah. I'd be curious to see him later in the series if his sister and Atlas have a kid.
because I don't think it's gonna go past what's his name? Tatum? The Griffin.
Oh,
I think that's gonna be like the last book in the series.
I think so too, yeah.
Unless they introduce more people and then the next
Oh
two
no,
books.
Jimenez will get a book.
Oh yeah.
So, and I think so there'll be at least 2 more books in that Ashley Bennett series. So the Faith and Fitness books. Have you read the first one?
No.
It's good. You should read it. It's a good palate cleanser. It'd be a good like follow up to this where you just like need something a little like fluffy. Okay. I don't have anything else to say about this book.
No, nothing else.
Okay, we do this very irregularly, but what is your current read?
I literally just finished. It's called Fractured Fates by Hannah Hayes.
Ooh,
She literally just released it like
I feel like
a
I've
couple days
seen
ago.
this.
And I was just like, cause I know she announced there's gonna be multiple books. I think there's gonna be like 3 because there's no way they can wrap it up in another book. But I read it and I was like, oh, it's not gonna be that bad, and it left me on a cliffhanger. And now I'm like, I don't know what to do with my life. Like, where do I go from here? Because I need the book, but it doesn't come out till January, and that's like literally 4 months away.
I hate that. I hate when you read a book not realizing there's a sequel and you're like, oh fuck.
I thought it was
standalone.
gonna be fine, but no, literally doesn't have sex in this book, not once.
Really?
She comes, but she doesn't have sex.
That's
No.
weird for a Hannah Hayes novel.
You're telling me, man. I was like, when are they gonna fuck? Which one is she gonna fuck first?
It's like that the Twisted Bonds series, but you're like, yeah, they basically don't have sex until book 2.
Well, they don't have sex until book 3, I think.
I haven't read it. It's on my list.
It's a really good series, but I think I went into that knowing that
They don't have sex.
they don't have sex until later in the series.
It's
Or like this
key.
one, I was like, Hannah Hayes is gonna be fucking all the time. They're literally gonna start fucking at 20%. No. No sex.
No. That's rough. I'm reading Forget Me Not by Julie Soto. It's actually really fucking cute. I'm like halfway through already. I started last night and I'm halfway through. Elliot is cute as fuck. He is so cute. You'd like it. I think you'd like it because he's like so motherfucking grumpy, but like so cute. It's good. I like it.
Okay.
And they do the flashbacky thing because it's a second chance.
Oh.
Which like I wasn't sure I liked, but all the flashbacks are in Elliot's point of view, and all of the current are in her point of view. It's very interesting.
Okay.
Anyway, I like it. I've heard really good things about it. So it was on the same list as Practice Makes Perfect, and I was like, I don't know, because that book is closed door.
Ugh.
But this book is so far not closed door. Well, they haven't had sex yet, but I'm only halfway through, so maybe. Okay. On that note, rate, review, and subscribe to our podcast. It's very helpful when we have ratings and reviews, because that's how people find us. That's how we get recommended. Tell your friends about us. Share about us on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you share your podcasts. We do have an event coming up in November, so there'll be announcements on our Instagram for that. It's a romance panel. We'll have like a live panel, and then it'll go live on our podcast as well. Like, it'll also be released as a podcast episode as a bonus, but that is also coming up. So if you want to tune in live, you'll get first dibs on pre-orders for the book box, which will happen in November, to ship sometime in the new year. Otherwise, connect with us on Instagram. That's where we are for most of the time, I guess. Anything else to add?
Nope.
All right. We'll see you next week.
Bye.